So I got a dream that I'm gonna be at the top of the scene. On every screen, making my presence something to be seen, yeah. I'll make them all see that I could be anything I wanna be. If you got a dream, then you need persistence and lots of belief, yeah. Yo, don't take that negative energy, I replace that. I just wanna be me, I don't fake that. I just wanna be free, yeah, chase that. I got a new obsession, it's helping and teaching and giving everyone a lesson. It's living and winning and building something that's impressive. I don't wanna do the same thing, I wanna be progressive, so I'ma make a new me, a new beast, a true fiend. He's everything that he wants to be. Look in the mirror, what he wants to see is a dude looking back at me. I stay on track, yeah, track things. I'm setting goals, life hacking. I'm steady stacking. I see myself being happy. A better me with a strategy that I'm attacking.
Put to the test and you know I'll lace that. Hit me in the face and I'm hitting right back. I enjoy the chase so I'll stay on track, yeah. I enjoy the race so I'll make that bag. Got a lot of dreams that I'll make come true. Got a lot of things that I wanna do. Got a lot of goals that I wanna prove. And there's not a lot of time so I gotta make moves.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Fly Like an Eagle podcast, episode 6. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, Big Al. How you doing, man? How you doing?
Yo, Mitch, what's up, brother?
Hey, I just gotta say one thing. Thanks again for giving me this opportunity. I'm having a lot of fun here on EOP.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. Glad to, always said one thing here at EOP, we have a hell of a crew. Like a lot of different guys, different walks of life, different outlooks, and we're all willing to not agree, but respect each other. And that's why I like one thing I think that has separated us from the rest in that way.
Right. So if you're new here, please hit that like and subscribe on EOP and my channel. The links are in the description. Really appreciate it. And here's our guy, Daniel. How you doing, man? The guy's always first on every
Captain
single live
Consistent.
stream.
I'll tell you, like he is the core group there of commenters.
I know. I see him everywhere. Whenever I'm watching live stream, he's right there. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll take it. Good
Does
support.
that guy, does he sleep and does he not look at YouTube all the time? I mean, that's what I love about it.
Hey, all I gotta say, hit that notification bell so you can be like Daniel. I'm telling you, the notification bell is working for him.
Yep, absolutely.
It's great. So before we get into this game between the 49ers, the Eagles made a move of signing Zach Leonard. So I'm just like, it was coming. I thought personally he was going to go to Dallas after the beatdown we'd taken. So let me know. How do you like this signing?
Yeah, I honestly thought he'd probably wait till the Eagles-Dallas game to make the decision. That would be the interesting thought if he did that. But I like the signing. It's an upgrade. There is some ups and downs. The guy was let go because of his contract. And I keep reminding people it was a contract thing. He wasn't getting the playing time. He is a good player, but he's had 2 major back surgeries. Maybe a change in scenery and maybe, having some time to heal will make a big difference for him. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. Fingers crossed, I'm not saying like he's going to be that missing piece we didn't have, but definitely an upgrade. If we have him and Zach Cunningham on the field at the same time, healthy, definitely upgrading the linebacker position.
Of course. And our man Dives, as soon as we got Zach Leonard, he tweeted out the info, the stats, our stat guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then he goes, Nicholas Morrow had 6 receptions on 8 targets, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 missed tackle. And then Ellis, I think he's actually gone. Didn't he get released or waived?
They waived him. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the practice squad at one point, but it is what it is.
And then he had 2 receptions on 3 targets, 33 yards. So honestly, he's the best linebacker we got. Then we have Nakobe Dean coming
I think I lost you. It's very you want mute there. I don't know, is that me or you? Hold on.
That was me. I hate it. Like it's keep on wiggling. I hate it. But
all right.
Yeah, so he's the best linebacker we got now.
It is. And listen, for how long Howie and the Eagles have not put a lot of stock in linebacker, which I get. You can't have a superstar at every position, but I would hope now looking forward, we don't have to wait, to the 3rd round, to the 4th round to have, guys who are or projects or something like that. Hopefully maybe in the offseason you see him put a little bit more stock into it. But it would be it'd be interesting because they need a burst, especially after the loss that we took against the Niners. They're going to need a burst. And listen, this can turn around. Like, I'm not just trying to be a guy wearing green colored glasses. I see that we already have a commenter with a Dallas star on it. Yeah, throw it up there. And are you enjoying holding that L? Listen, I'll take my lumps where my lumps come in. Like, I'll take it, but I don't know what your Cowboy brain, how you guys short-term memory for Cowboy fans. I mean, I guess you have to, because I don't think you guys lost a bigger deficit to them. If I remember correctly, we were able to at least put a touchdown up on them. I remember that you guys couldn't even do that. And the teams that you guys have beat outside of Seattle haven't been over 500, and Seattle's kind of up and down. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, enjoy it now, because this one is, the kids, I like to say on social media, it won't age well, most likely.
Nah. And actually, Dive just mentioned Reed Blankenship is leading the strong safety in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
What? Wow, I did not expect that.
That was not on my bingo card at all. But listen, Reed Blankenship being in the Pro Bowl wouldn't surprise me, because a lot of guys just don't go in. It's like, I could see him like coming in if like it kind of got passed down to him at one point. But no, I mean, that's amazing. Reed Blankenship's been a good story. Listen, he's not like this guy, this guy that's going to be a game wrecker all the time, but there has been big moments with him. He got a little exposed last week, or a lot of guys got a little exposed last week in some ways. But kudos to the Niners in the sense that they listen. I had a feeling they came in with a game plan. They said, "Here's our game plan. We're going to run a kind of vanilla style offense, vanilla style offense and defense, see how they do." Saw that in the first quarter wasn't panning out. The Eagles were owning them. All right, well, they changed it, and the Eagles didn't. The Eagles did not, make any adjustments. You could definitely see the legs got tired. I'm not making excuses, but there is something to be said about 3 games in 13 days on top of coming off an extended game with the Bills just a week prior, and then getting 10 days of rest. Again, Cowboys get 10 days of rest against waiting to play us. So, don't tell me the NFL schedule maker didn't have this all planned out. Not saying that they planned out the Eagles were going to be 10-2 at anything at this point, but don't tell me the Eagles the NFL schedule makers didn't know that, this is a good way of keeping things leveled and making things more dramatic instead of somebody running away with this because everybody has like a very strong, schedule at one point, like a very tight, hard gauntlet, as we called it. We're kind of at the end of our gauntlet. Cowboys are just in the beginning of their gauntlet, and we're like kind of the big part if you want to count the Seahawks game. And like, I hate to break it to you, where that guy said, "Are you enjoying that L?" You were this close to losing to Seattle, and like, nothing against Seattle, but they're not a great team. They're a good team. They're a very good defense. They have some good superstars. Geno Smith he's good, but he's not great. He's not in my eyes, he's not anything to write home about. And they, this vaunted defense that the Cowboys have, they ran all over him. Geno Smith made a mockery. So you don't think Jalen Hurts? So, again, hold that L, hold that comment, enjoy it. I have at it, but guess what? In the long run, you may eat those words, and then you won't hear from Alexander for 2 weeks. Let's be honest.
Yeah, trust me, Alexander. He's actually a Cowboys fan, a Warriors fan, a Phillies fan. I go on and on. It makes no sense.
Man, Alexander, just pick a place and stick with it.
Right? That's exactly.
Did you move around, like, were you a military guy? Were you like moving around your whole life or something? Like, that's a very interesting potpourri of sports teams. Like, I mean, except for the Phillies, like it sounds like a front runner.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dives goes, Cowboys O-line got slaughtered against the Niners. Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, listen, and you got hopefully a more rested Jalen Carter, a more rested Jordan Davis. I worry about them a little bit more, Jalen, than Jordan, because remember, he's a rookie, and college football is like they don't go as long as the NFL does. And this is where you start to see kind of the college football guys get a little winded in their rookie years because of the shorter season that they play in college versus in the NFL. So I keep my eye on that, but their O-line's going to have some work ahead of them. And they listen, the Niners have a very good O-line, including one of the best left tackles in the league, if not the best. And they wised up to it. They ran everything to his side. They made everything difficult for us. So power to them on that one. But listen, if this game was played a little differently, it doesn't mean it's going to happen every time. Like
No.
this doesn't mean like if you're doing like a power rankings thing, Mitch. If I'm sitting here doing the power rankings, I don't know. Like the Eagles and the Niners could be like a 1A, 1B for me right now
Yeah.
still. And I would probably inch the Niners ahead of us right now. Just hey, they beat us handily, and the power rankings are in the now. But doesn't mean if we played 10 games in a row against them and everything was even, I don't think that doesn't happen every time. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah. We could be like our guy Phil from Trinity AM. He does a power ranking every single week.
Yeah.
He still has the Eagles up there at 1 and the Niners right there. So
Phil's a great guy. Phil, yeah. And
I
you know
love
what?
Phil.
And you know what? Here's the thing is, not just because I'm a guy from Philly and I'm an Eagles fan, and covered the Eagles. If you had a power ranking and you had the Eagles at number 1 right now, I would not blame you. They still have the ability. They're still the top team. This is going to be a really big tell for, this would be a big emotional needed win for the Eagles, but a scheduling playoff win for the Cowboys because, it makes things a little bit tighter. Now, if we beat them, outside of us falling apart against the Seahawks, Niners, or the Seahawks, Cardinals, and then the Giants went twice, the division's ours for the most part, unless we decide to give it away. And the number 1 seed is getting closer to being locked up because the Niners have a tough run against them. They still have to play the Ravens. I'm not looking past them playing against the Seahawks. I know the Seahawks aren't a great team, but I know it's in San Francisco. But I don't think they're going to run away with it.
Right. I agree with that. What is up next shift? That's my guy from the Hardcore Sports Network, one of our loyal members. Appreciate you.
There you go.
My guy Raphael, how's it going, man? A Las Vegas Raiders fan, actually.
All right, there you go.
So yeah, and Randy goes, don't mind Alex. He hasn't seen a team in the Super Bowl either on Madden. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, Cowboys gonna lose. I'm telling you, Eagles gonna fly with the big dub. Appreciate that, Raph. Appreciate that, man. That's like my brother. That's like my brother, man. Brock Purdy's better than Dak Prescott. Okay.
Listen. I'm not going to sit there and deny that. And the reason I could agree with that, I'll tell you why. I'll go a little against the grain on this one. Overall, sorry about that, guys. I'm a little dry tonight. Brock Purdy is proving that he's an NFL quarterback every week, and he continues to prove it. He had that 3-game skid, but he came back from it. So to me, that shows a little something. Where Dak Prescott wouldn't have it, where Brock Purdy would be over Dak Prescott is the ability to win, I guess is the best way of putting it. Because Dak, Alex, pounding your chest, buddy, but I get it. You're excited, and I'm pounding my chest too, but history shows otherwise. Okay. History shows this is where you guys tend to fall apart. You fall apart against the good teams. You fall apart when you walk into the playoffs. I mean, last year you guys beat a terrible Tampa Bay team. A terrible. I couldn't even say it anymore. Just horrible Tampa Bay team who only got into the playoffs because their division just was god awful. And you know what? If everything kind of plays out the way it is, it plays in their favor again that way. If everything ended today the way it was, they would be playing the South, the NFC South team. Like how the 5th seed is going to be having a better chance to win against the 4th seed than the 2nd seed against the 5th seed. Like it's mind numbing sometimes, but it is the way things play out, and that's the rules, and they luck into it. So again, they beat a really bad Tampa Bay team last year, and then they go and they couldn't score against the Niners, and they look scared. They look like they couldn't. That's where Dak Prescott shrivels up. I mean, we saw it against the Eagles this year. He steps out. He had no reason to step out, but he steps out and he dacked the situation up. Like, so how these guys pound their chest that way, it just blows my mind. But you know what? That's why we love football so much, Mitch.
Yeah. Detroit Lions might get it. They've been on kind of a little downfall as of late. I don't know about Lions, bro. People are saying they're frauds.
Listen, the Lions are not unlike the Eagles of last year. People were saying they were fraudulent because they didn't play any good teams. They had a really cake schedule. They do have a really good schedule. But, and they let up games like against Green Bay, who's kind of emerging as a better team than we expected, but still should have won. And then who was the other team they just lost to too as well? Was it Minnesota?
I
They
think it was
lost to
Minnesota.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
yeah. And Minnesota's not a good team. I mean, they were a nice little story for a couple weeks, but that team got exposed. You got no Justin Jefferson. You got the more irrelevant quarterback in Joshua Dobbs, I think it is, whoever quarterbacking there now. And you lost that. So, that's the parody of the NFL in a nutshell. But they have their 3 losses, and the Eagles, if it comes down to say they tie the Eagles, I think the Eagles get it because of strength of schedule, right?
Right. Yep.
So they would have to make sure the Eagles lose another one. And this week and Seattle week is really where it's going to be. Again, I'm not looking past the the Giants or the Cardinals, because those teams, sometimes when you play with nothing to lose, that's scarier than playing with people who are looking to make a playoff run or something like that. So in my eyes, I'm not looking past anything, but from a strength of schedule situation, our gauntlet is pretty much coming to an end after this Sunday for the most part. Not Seahawks are a very good team, good defense, but the heart of the gauntlet, it was these last 4 games, and that's it.
And then Dimes asked me, who do I hate more, Dak Prescott or Tobias Harris? Oh, God, it's pretty damn close.
Well, if you go to EOPsports.com, you would love Thiago's article he wrote the other day. He really put a reason why the Sixers don't need Tobias Harris, and it was really compelling. I'll be honest with you. So check it out at EOPsports.com.
It's pretty damn close, but I had to go with Dak Prescott, of course. I mean, Tobias is still putting up points for us somehow, some way. I mean,
Listen, yeah, I mean, Tobias Harris has his moments, but he's like, if you think about it, he is the Dak Prescott of the Sixers. Like, he has moments where he looks really good, and you might even want to talk about like putting him on an All-Star game or something. Then all suddenly he does completely Tobias Harris type things, like Dak does Dak type things.
Exactly. And this guy here, Blaze Radio, keep on saying he's doing good. He's doing good. I'm like, are you watching the games? I'm like, come on, man. Like,
what's up, Blaze? What's going on, my friend?
That's my guy from Hardcore Sports Network, another member of mine. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. I've been talking about this with my guy, NFL Reality Check. He was on my show last week.
Yep, great show.
Did we get exposed by the 49ers, you think? And shout out to my guy, Matty B. He's the one who said this in the post game.
Listen, Matty B is. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Matty B, Matty B wants perfection, and God bless the man for it. I've been so used to this. Did we get exposed? I don't think so. Haven't people not been talking about the Eagles linebacker core being bad? Has not, our secondary losing a step. I mean, the O-line did well. Jalen Hurts held onto the ball a few times too long. That's something that he's been doing a little bit lately, which he needs to fix and can be rectified. The wide receivers, I put a little blame on them in some ways, except for Devontae Smith, man. Never seen a man like his size truck another man. It's amazing. But there was times Jalen sitting there for like 30 seconds in the NFL is just unheard of. For 15 to 30 seconds holding that ball, and he couldn't get anybody open either. He wasn't reading progression, or he's trying to force it to Devontae, or he's trying to force it to A.J. Brown. Those are a couple things I worry about. I don't know how exposed they are, but I heard the people go, oh, there's a blueprint out there now. There's nothing that you haven't said. Listen, I think they caught him at a good time. They caught him at a tired time. I'm not told that these Eagles can go on a good run until now. If we see another walloping in Dallas, okay, maybe there's an exposed part. But listen, give Howie credit, which I know he doesn't like to do, and I used to not like to do either. I used to be as bad as Matty B with the whole Howie stuff. Yeah. But I came back around a little bit on it. But I don't think it's exposed. I don't think exposed is the word I would use in this. But they caught him at a good time, and they did expose their weaknesses that everybody already knew about. Now, hopefully, the Eagles can adjust.
Right. And I'm pretty sure you heard about David Carr, right? Because people are just telling me like how stupid that is, but yeah.
Listen, I've learned one thing in doing what we do. I've been doing this as EOP. I've been doing this now. It'll be 6 years in about 2 weeks. EOP's 6th birthday is coming up, and me and Joe were just talking about this the other night. And one thing I've learned is what national media people like to do is either they really get rah-rah on the Eagles or they blast the Eagles, because the old saying is there's no such thing as bad publicity. I mean, what he said was just downright stupid, just downright stupid. But here's a guy who couldn't hack it in the NFL, who's getting paid whatever money to do what he has to do to stay and try to stay relevant in some ways. So it was a way of getting clicks. That was clickbait at its finest.
Right. Now I see everyone saying Happy Hanukkah. Appreciate that to everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, Happy Hanukkah. Yeah. It's first night.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Oh, really? The Pacers about to beat the Bucks?
Really?
No. Blaze, what? 8-point lead, 45 seconds left.
Pacers are being sneaky good this year. I mean, like,
I love
they have the guys that do it. They have the guys that do. They're a lovable team, but they're just never. They're always mediocre, but they're a lovable team when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this on my side computer over here while we're talking. I got to see this.
Yeah, I got to see that too. I'll put it on my phone over here. Halliburton's a sneaky MVP candidate. Yep.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, and I've talked about this at length. When the Halliburton, who was the other guy? It was traded to them at the same time. I'm trying to remember.
Shoot.
I forgot, but it was when the trade was coming down for.
Sabonis?
No.
To the Kings, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm just trying to remember, but it was Halliburton, and who? Well, it'll come to me. But when the trade was coming down for Ben Simmons to go to,
it was Buddy Hield. Thank you, Dives.
Buddy Hield. Yes, Dives. When Hield and him, and they said, oh, well, they were going to trade Hield and him for Simmons. I'm like, do it, because it made so much sense. These guys, I've always liked these guys as players. I think they're the right kind of fit to the kind of players. I would like to still get at least one of them, if possible, in a trade, because if at the trade deadline, if the Pacers are available, I know we're kind of jumping off here, are available to trade with, I would make some trades to get either Buddy Hield or in my eyes, I would probably not. I'd probably go Halliburton more or less, but
that's real. We'll break the internet. It will break that man and the internet.
But I think the reason I think that Halliburton's such a good, it's not just the talent, like, because you could say, oh, you could put anybody on there, but if you put another superstar in there like a James Harden or even like I'm just trying to think of like a really good a perennial MVP, but you put a really good like Dame Lillard, like if Dame Lillard when he went to the Bucks, like I think Halliburton has just enough star power, but not to be a superstar where it's going to throw off the balance of the Maxey Embiid energy level that we've seen so far.
Yep, and then Markkanen, of course, I would love him. Of course.
Yeah.
How could you not?
Yeah.
How can you not? But before we get back into it, you guys know where to get Eagles tickets from, Sherry'sTickets.com. So let's play that commercial, and then we'll get right back to you. There we go.
All right, guys, it's time to talk about Sherry's Tickets. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. Do not pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. That's 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, do not overpay and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. Save 10% using the promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. You'll thank us later. Sherry'sTickets.com.
And actually, here's our guy Phil. We just mentioned him earlier on the show. What is up, Phil? How's it going, man? I need to get you on the show, Phil. Hit me up.
It's a morning show. Listen, I don't just say this because I know Phil now. I've got to know Phil because of what we do. But he is the morning show that I watch. Like I listen. I actually put him right on in my car. I turn off WIP, turn off all the 97.5s. I put on Phil because you know what? He does it well. Like, man, check him out. Trending in the AM, man, it's great.
Yeah, I love it. And Blaze dropping a like over at EOP. Appreciate
Thank you, Blaze.
Thank you, Blaze. He's one of those guys that will drop likes on every single channel. So
we'll respond back accordingly as well.
You guys too kind. Hey, you do a hell of a job, man. Hell of a job.
Yeah,
I turn you on every day.
it's funny because Phil and I actually come from the same stomping grounds here in the Clifton Heights, Delaware County area. He actually went to school with my sister. We didn't even know that until we started working together. It was funny.
Oh, wow. That's actually great. That's actually great. But we got to get back into this. Who's more to blame? Is it Sean Desai or is it Brian Johnson? For me, it's
I
more
am
Desai. For me,
actually, to be honest with you, I am gonna go neither.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go with our head coach Nick Sirianni
okay.
because the buck stops with him, man. If Sean decides not running the ball enough, if or being too panicky and throwing the ball too much, he needs to step in and say something. He needs to be like, "Oh, we need to calm it down. We need to slow down." It's all about pace, man. Like if you want to look at the one shining bright spot that we saw from the Niners game was that first quarter, right? Everything, all the bad happened in the third quarter. So they controlled the time. They got 3 and out for the Niners. The rest of the time of those 15 minutes was our 20 was all Eagles. So I listen, Sean Desai has what he has to work with. You have a secondary has definitely lost a step. You have linebacker core, hopefully that's upgraded, and you had a super tired front big men. So I'm not Desai has too much of a pass. I don't know if he has a pass, but listen, I mean, they still held the Chiefs in the Bills scoreless in the second half, man. I mean, you can't, or actually, no, they did let the Bills score once, but in 2 games against the Bills and the Chiefs, they let up 1 touchdown. Like that's huge. How do you complain about that? It's hard, like to dice. I'm trying my best, to be honest with you,
Mhm.
not to be too homerish when I talk about this Eagles game, but it's going to come off that way. Like there was a lot of things leaning against the Eagles to lose this game. I mean, we heard about all the chippiness. We saw the chippiness. We heard about the chippiness even before the game started. Like they're walking through their warm ups and like banging into them and stuff like that. I mean, this was like to me, that's like the Niners Super Bowl right here. And listen, I'm not saying the Niners aren't going to win. They're a very good team, high odds to win a Super Bowl this year. But again, like they caught this team at the perfect time. Tired, they had plenty of rest, plenty of time, and they did. And Kyle Shanahan did a hell of a job picking this team apart. But I can't blame both any of them. And if Sean Desai is making the problem that it's Nick Sirianni or Brian Johnson, then it's on Nick Sirianni to get them fixed. Like, listen, I give Nick Sirianni a lot of credit for time. How many times you got a head coach starts play calling after a few months or a couple months, like, you know what? I'm not doing a good job. I'm gonna let Shane Steichen doing it. One thing we learned is Shane Steichen is a really good offensive coordinator, and we're hurting because of that. It'd be interesting to see, what they do moving forward. But I had to put the blame there.
Yeah. As for me, it's like the tackling. That has to go on Sean Desai, right? You got to teach him how to tackle, and that didn't work.
No.
I mean, we couldn't stop at all. Debo just ran all over us. Same with McCaffrey, Kittle in the middle. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, exposed, but now we got, oh my God. Forgetting his name. We just talked about him. Who's
Shaq Leonard?
Shaq Leonard. Thank you. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah.
We have if anybody's noticed, I was making this joke last night on EOP. I said, I was like, we have 2 guys named Darius who don't like being called Darius. You're not allowed to call Slay tells you, like, if you're in the locker room, I got guys who are friends of mine are in the locker room and they say, like, he says, if you said, hey, Darius, it's Slay. Like, he'll tell you that it's Slay. And then you got Shaq Leonard who doesn't go by Darius. So there you go.
Nick Sirianni and running down the pace of control 3 and putting linebackers upgrading on to scoring 1 touchdown in the second half. Yeah, is true. That is true. AJ Brown had an interview today about the locker room and about the ability to man up. Sunday night, you'll see.
Yeah, and like that's my thing is that's been the mantra is that this team is never out of it. Like again, I mean, they weren't out against the defending Super Bowl champions Chiefs, who definitely haven't had the greatest year that they've had. They weren't out of it against the Bills, who Josh Allen was having a career game against, and they still weren't out of it. So just because they got knocked down and they got smacked around, you can't count them out yet. Now, if they get smacked around again against the Cowboys and they really struggle against the Seahawks or lose to them, then we can talk.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. You're playing teams back to back with 10 days off. Yeah, we
Exactly.
said that earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't tell me the NFL schedule maker didn't have this planned out. This was all planned out to keep things even.
Pacers won.
There you go.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, I called them on my podcast. Woohoo! I called them and I called the Pelicans. So please give me the Pelicans. Please. But other than that,
Little TJ action.
I would love to have TJ in the next round. That'd be great. They will be getting smacked down again and again. No, I don't think so. It's a different game, and it actually folds into my next topic here. Is this a blessing in disguise? That basically goes into the next thing. I think it's a blessing. Honestly.
Listen, it's how you look at certain things. You know what I mean? Like different people, different reactions. The sky's falling is usually the first reaction for a lot of people. It was a wake up call. It was a wake up call that. And let's go back to Matty B for a second. Matty B talked about you can't live like that. So maybe it was the wake up call that they needed. Because if they lost, what would we be talking about right now? If they lost, but like kind of was a closer game, like a much more competitive game. If that is how they lost, we'd be like, no, they were tired. Like we'd be making excuses, and that would be the end of it. But maybe in some ways it could be that blessing in disguise that takes that whole locker room and shakes them by their jersey and said, listen, guys, you are not Superman. You are not impervious to loss or pain. You need to relook at yourself, relook at the players individually, the defense and the offense as a whole, and the team as a whole. And the whole mantra of this year has been resiliency. So let's put that resiliency to the test. This is where you need to be resilient. Like, look about it. Again, it's against you in the favor. You're 10 days rest for the Cowboys. They're in Dallas, where we have not won in a long time in Dallas. Dak plays his best football in Dallas. Everything's pointing against us. So this is where you need to show up and say, at the very least, pound your chest and say, this is our division. Now we want the first overall seed.
Yeah. If you can't or won't tackle, have fun with DK. That's in a couple weeks. We're not going to focus on Seattle right now.
No, but he makes a good point, because that's one of the biggest glaring areas, but things that can be fixed. So that's why, to me, it's not one that hurts as much unless they don't fix it. But Jazz, you make a good point, man. If they can't tackle, because they didn't. And then listen, it's not just the Eagles. Like secondary guys, especially like cornerbacks and stuff, they do this like human missile thing where they just throw themselves at you. And I don't get it. Like it's across the league, like tackling. I know they teach them how to tackle more safely, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, it's a good thing. But at the same time, they're just not wrapping up and like, all right, I'm going to at least wrap this guy up, slow him down so the rest of the team can come over and gang tackle this guy. So, no, they need to wrap up, and that is something that can be fixed. Yeah, they don't wrap up, and that's something that can be fixed. And you know what? Again, kind of going back to what you asked me earlier, that blessing in disguise. Maybe this was what they needed to see to feel that to get that fixed.
You know what's funny? It's just like it's their second loss, right? And everyone on the internet is just like up in arms, fire this person. I hit that point at some point during the season. I mean, who hasn't? But it's our second loss.
You're not an Eagles fan if you're not asking for somebody for a pink slip at one point in the season.
Right, but it's a second loss though, and I'm like, we're still the first seed. We're still the best team in the
NFL. A hindsight thing. Like if listen, Mitch, if I went back in time and grabbed you like after they released the schedule in May, said, hey Mitch, I'm out from the future, and right now the Eagles are 10-2 where I'm at. See you later, Mitch, and head out. You'd be the happiest boy in the world. You know, like so it's just the way the loss occurred that makes it sting that much more. Like I said, if they just lost a good game, then they would have tired legs and we would have felt like we won. It would have been that moral victory situation. So again, a good conversation piece that you brought up, blessing in disguise, hopefully helps them hit that reset button that some teams need to move forward. We've seen teams like the Eagles lose big games handedly, but then go on runs. So what means the Eagles can't do the same thing? We'll find out.
And then Jazz brings up a good point. We have not played a complete game yet. Like this past game, first quarter, and then it's
Yeah.
just like it's funny. It's really funny to me how
And
you
it
can't
was the
play all
same
4
way
quarters.
last year too. I hate to break it to people. I mean, there were some games that we walloped people. Don't get
Yeah.
like the Titans
Right.
game and all that. But what was wasn't our scoring in the third quarter didn't we have the lowest amount of points scored in the third quarter in the whole NFL for most of the game? Yeah, they are streaky even in the middle of the game. And yes, they have to. They're allowing too many. They're allowing more yardage than scores, but now they're allowing more scores, and you're going up against a Cowboys team who's scoring in bunches, man. They're just scoring in bunches again against not great teams. I mean, Carolina, you saw that game, they just completely owned them, but you should. But let's see what happens. I agree with Jazz Fusion. You can't you have to play all 4 quarters, but then the Eagles didn't, and they were still winning. This is the first time it bit him in the butt. I'm not sitting there saying they can do that because it kind of comes back to what we talked about with Matty B. Me and him have had on-show conversations. We've had off-show conversations. We've talked about it a bunch of times. You're right. You can't live by that, but if it's working, it's working. It's like they've been bucking the trend a lot lately. The Niners game, they had time of possession. They owned time of possession in the Niners game. But they didn't own time of possession in the Chiefs game. They didn't own time of possession in the Bills game. They didn't own time of possession in the first Dallas game. So at one point, yes, it has to give somewhere, but I can't just be like, oh, this team sucks now. Like you said, because they're 10-2. I'm going to tell you this team has some glaring holes but most of them can be fixed. And one of them, linebackers, was being fixed. I honestly think, I know Darius Slay's has a little hampering injury. I think he plays on Sunday, but I think he's going to have a good game if he's playing. I think Darius Slay has a good game.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, he's been getting burnt left and right. So has Bradbury. Easy to do when they're scoring in a minute. That's another thing I want to bring up too with the defense. Yeah. That's why I blame it more on the side. If we won the time of possession, I have to give it to the defense then.
They were driving down the field, just they weren't being stopped. There was the one touchdown where they missed the Reed Blankenship call. They should have called. That was ridiculous. But I'm like, who cares? People were blaming the refs on this game. Come on, guys. I mean, all right. Say they called him for it. They brought it back. He would have scored in the next, play or two. So with that being said, it's easy to have the time of possession because you're taking up time. But like I said, when you're scoring, they had long drives too. The Niners, like 12 plus play drives. So, and they were starting at the 10-yard line, and they're still running it down the throat. I'm telling you, that's where the fatigue really started to set in. So this team hopefully can survive, Dallas and even the Seahawks. Then maybe if they do that, they can start resting guys or really rotating guys. And then maybe David Carr could see a little Mariota time in that late Giants game, or even if we're really lucky, the Cardinals game. But let's get there first.
Right. If you watch Johnson at Florida, you would know this is not his idea on how to run an offense. I didn't watch him at Florida. I'm gonna have to watch highlights of that.
Yeah. Well, then are we saying it's Nick Sirianni? Or because I mean the Eagles organization's been known to be a pass heavy. It's a pass heavy league. Yeah. But what helped us get right was running the ball again. So why are we getting away? We have one of the best O lines in the league to run the ball with, and they don't take advantage of it. But why? Are they seeing something? Is there kind of a little nagging mild injury that's DeAndre Swift? Is it Kenny Gainwell's drops or fumbling issues? Why can Rashad Penny not get on the field? I've been for the last couple of years pounding my chest about getting that big bruiser back, that Garrett Blunt style back. I mean, it doesn't have to be Derrick Henry. If it was, that'd be awesome. But it doesn't have to be. But just somebody who is big and solid, who can pound the ball down somebody's throat, especially in that red zone area where we're struggling at, and wear a defensive line down. Because if you had a guy like that, I mean, it might have made a slight to major difference, maybe, against a really good defensive line in the in the 49ers. And by the way, just kudos to Lane Johnson. Another time he's playing with an injury, and Chase Young he's handling. Nick Bosa I mean, it's just it's just fun to watch. Like, whoever thought watching a right tackle would be fun to watch? I mean, I know I'm a part and partial lineman. I'm a lineman coach. I played line my whole life. I get it. You have to be kind of a certain kind of crazy to enjoy it, but it is.
You know what's it's just crazy when Lane Johnson was out against the Chiefs, I think it was. The whole first half was garbage without him. Without him. It's just one guy. For me, that's just crazy to see. And I'm witnessing it in front of my eyes. Like, it's insane.
I'm telling you,
It's crazy.
Dibes and I've had this conversation a bunch. This year, depending on how they're picking, where they're picking, and they have the 2 first-round picks and who's available and who, I've been watching their video. I'll be honest with you, the draft stuff. I mean, listen, Dibes and Shane them, they got me head and shoulders much better. I mean, I get half my information from watching their videos. But right tackle of the future needs to be just like they did with Jason Kelsey with Cam Jurgens. Right tackle of the future needs to be definitely looked at, because not that next year, but a guy who can learn from Lane and watch Lane and just. But Lane is a freak of nature. A guy his size, as ripped as he is, he's just a freak of nature. So.
Right, right. So before we get into the Dak Prescott and the whole Cowboys, how we can beat them on the defensive side, let's check in with David Archeri, then we'll get right back at you.
All right, guys, let's talk about Cherry Law Firm. If you get hurt at work in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you got to call David Archeri of the Cherry Firm. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David Archeri fight for your rights. Again, that number is 610-565-0300. That's 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David Archeri fight for your right.
Yep, thank you to David Archeri, and let's just get right into it. How do the Eagles stop Dak Prescott? Because people have him as MVP right now, which is kind of crazy to believe.
People, I swear to, like, it's like fighting with your wife with the Dak Prescott story, and I'll tell you what I mean by that, because I'm sure she can hear me because I'm in my studio, but I know she can hear me. But we all talked about fighting with our wives, girlfriends, significant others, whatever, where it feels like it's like you could record it and then play it back for them later because it's going to happen again. It's the same thing as, how do you beat Dak Prescott? You get to Dak Prescott. You put pressure. You make Dak think. You let him sit back and just roll around and do what he wants. He will pick you apart. He's got the weapons to do so. But if you push him and force him to make decisions, that's where he struggles. Decision making. That's where he struggles. If you they chase him in the outline, he steps out. He didn't have to. It didn't make sense. All you had to do was dive forward. He would have had that extra point. And guess what? That could have been a world of difference in their first game, but it did not. So forcing Dak Prescott to do what Dak Prescott does best and is throw the ball away. Because then Slay, then Bradbury, Reed, Blankenship, those guys might start getting back into that turnover battle, which made us very good last year, because they've been lacking in that area.
Right. For me, it comes down to Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. I mean, it comes down to those two. If they're on fire, you're good. Same with Hassan Reddick. He has how many sacks this year? Like, I forget how much Reddick has. I mean, I know it's a lot. Him and Sweat. So we are capable of getting there. It's Desai. How will Desai get them there? That's
if they kept a stat of almost sacks, we'd be killing it. We'd be setting the record this year. That's they need to get home now. They need to get in his face. You saw Jalen Carter put his mid up, knock the ball down. He did that with an extra point. He did that with a possible touchdown throw. What Jalen Carter has done is, if he doesn't get Defensive Rookie of the Year at this point, I'm just shocked. I mean, unless he just falls off over the next 4 or 5 games, because he has been a little quiet as of lately. But again, this is the time of year where rookies kind of have that little drop off. Well, we saw it with Micah Parsons his rookie year. Like, it happens. Yeah. But we'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, what Jalen Carter did, he went underneath the offensive lineman's legs to try to catch it. I mean, who does that?
It's not even just who does that. Who's also 800 feet tall and athletic enough to jump down like he's a guy. Like, I'm like, do you want to find a replacement for Lane Johnson? Get Jalen Carter. Like, let him become right tackle. Like, you could probably do it, but he's a freak of nature, but in a good way. And thank God he's on our team. It's like that part from Billy Madison. Thank God I called that guy. Like that's that's what it's like to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of bad for me. I'm a Michigan fan, so I have to root for Georgia Bulldogs for the rest of my life. But other than that, it's like,
Yeah.
I hate that. But before we close out, we got to give our predictions for this game. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be hard fought. So I know I'm going to be on the Eagles pregame at the Philly Sports. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about it there too. So let's talk about the predictions, man.
This is a tough one. It really is. Trying to be an analyst, not a fan for a moment.
Right, me too. Yeah.
And the numbers, I said to you this earlier, the numbers are there against us. They are totally, totally, totally against us. Them having 10 days rest, them having a lot of the energy flowing their way, being in Dallas where we've struggled, being Dak in Dallas where we've struggled against, Dak putting up a possible MVP candidate type play right now. Time will tell on that one, but I'm good. It's really hard, but I'm going to pick Dallas to win this one, real tight, and you know why? And I always say this, this is where I hope to be wrong. This is where I hope to be wrong. I think Jazz just said no repeat division winner. Yeah, the NFC East tends to not have repeat division winners, so there's that on top of it. But I'm not sitting there saying they're not going to win the division, and I'm definitely not going to sit there and say they're not going to win the first overall seed. I mean, even if they lose to Dallas, they're still in it. They still have some tiebreakers against teams, things like that. I'm not worried about it, and it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But I'm just hoping maybe that by me picking it, I'm going to mush the Eagles into victory. But it's just really hard if you say, "I'll put all your money on it." I got to pick Dallas in this situation. I hate doing it, but I will.
For me, I'll be the homer. Sorry, Matty B. I'll be the homer here. I'm going with the Eagles here. It's going to be very, very close. It's going to be hard fought. Cowboys are going to bring their A game in their own home stadium. So I got the winning. I forget what I said before, but this will be my new one now. 27-24 Eagles. I feel
it's going to be a close one. I don't think it's going to be. It might get into the high 20s, maybe low 30s, but I'm going to say more in the high 20s. So it's going to come down to a field goal to end the game in maybe like a 27-24 type situation too. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm keeping I hate making predictions. Like we used to do it on our Wednesday show, and I'm like, why are we making predictions on Wednesday?
Really?
God knows who's going to be hurt or not playing or something. But with Dallas Goedert back, that makes a big difference in my eyes. For AJ Brown, for Devontae Smith, you're going to spread out that secondary defense. That's the secondary for the Dallas defense. That was missing. I mean, they didn't have to worry about Jack Stoll. Nobody is one of the reasons the Eagles have struggled a little bit on offense is that, especially in the end zone, they don't respect Jalen's ability to run because he's been whatever nagging knee injury that he has or whatever, and they haven't had to spy him, and they've been able to drop guys back in coverage, and that's been a huge loss for us.
Yeah, let's open all black to Jerry World. Right, Spongy? I agree with that. I agree with that, man. And what is up, Mike? Good show, man. I was watching your show before this one. Great show. Really respect you, Mike. Gotta have you on the show too.
Yeah, him, James, and Joey Marks. Really know how to kick Thursdays off because I know there's just a tantalizing Thursday night football game for you people who love watching, paint dry. Patriots versus Steelers is always going to be a giant snooze fest this week.
Right. So that concludes Fly Like an Eagle, episode 6. I would like to thank Big Al for joining me. Love having you on the show, bro. And again, thank you for letting me join EOP.
Oh, no, thank you for joining, and thank you for making it even better than it already has been. And big things coming 2024. We'll be making announcements to the crew and then to the public in the next coming weeks. So it should be interesting.
All right. That sounds good. And, yep.
Yeah. I'm going to be under my blanket sleeping. That's the under I'm taking for tonight.
I'm trying to see what I'm going to be doing. I'll just have it. No, I'll be watching basketball. You got the
Yeah.
Pelicans and the Lakers.
Yeah, I'll probably be checking in on that. And tonight's the night I do some work with my boys. So that's what's going on tonight for me.
Good shit. So, yeah, guys, make sure to hit the like and subscribe on EOP, Mitch Topsy, and yeah, guys, we'll catch y'all later. Let's go Birds. Beat
Go
Dallas.
Birds.